If you're in the world of project management, you already know the playbook has been completely rewritten. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and demystify the PMBOK Guide's 7th edition. We're going to look at what's new, why it all had to change, and, what this all means for you and your projects. Let's dive right in.
So let me just start by asking you a question. Think about it for a second. Is your project playbook, the one you use every day, really built for today's world? A world of constant, crazy change and super fast innovation? Well, the latest PMBOK guide basically argues that for a lot of us, the answer was a hard no, and it was time for a fundamental update.
And the reason for this massive shift? It's actually pretty simple. The old ways of working, they were great for a long time, but they just can't keep up anymore. The entire landscape of how we build things, how we create, how we deliver, it's been completely turned on its head.
I mean, just look at the drivers here. We're talking about huge disruptions from emerging tech like AI, right? Then you have this explosion of new approaches, agile, hybrid models, you name it. And on top of that, market changes can literally happen overnight. Project management as a whole, as a profession, had to evolve, or it was going to risk becoming a dinosaur.
And this evolution, well, it wasn't just about tweaking a few things here and there. Nope. The 7th edition brought in a completely new philosophy for how we guide projects. It's a really fundamental shift in how we're supposed to think about project management itself.
And here it is, the absolute core of the change. We've moved away from a prescriptive, process-heavy standard, think of it like a super detailed recipe book where you follow every single step, to a flexible, principles-based one. It's way less about following rigid rules and way more about using a set of guiding values to make the right call for your specific situation.
And you can see just how deep this change goes when you look at the structure. The old 6th edition, that was all built on 5 process groups and 10 knowledge areas. The 7th edition comes along and completely scraps that. It's replaced with 12 project management principles and 8 project performance domains. This isn't just an update, it's a total teardown and rebuild, all for the sake of flexibility.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. The guide itself is crystal clear on this. It says that the crazy fast pace of change just made that old process-based model impossible to maintain. So this shift to principles, it was a very deliberate choice to reflect the dynamic, sometimes chaotic, reality of the projects we run today.
So what exactly are these principles that are now the bedrock of everything? Let's break down the first of these 2 new pillars, the 12 core principles. The best way to think about these is as the guiding behaviors for anyone leading a project.
Yep, there are 12 of them, and they're really designed to act like your compass. No matter what kind of project you're on, these principles are there to guide your decisions and your actions.
Okay, so this first group of principles, it's all about the people, the human side of things. It covers everything from being a good steward of resources, to building a collaborative team environment, to really engaging with your stakeholders, demonstrating true leadership, and enabling change. The message here couldn't be clearer. The people doing the work are absolutely central to success.
Now, the next set of principles zooms in on the how of the work. This is where we see things like tailoring your approach, building quality right into the process, navigating complexity, and thinking in terms of whole system interactions. But what's really crucial here is that all of these principles, every single one, points toward that one big goal, focusing on and delivering value.
Okay, so if the principles are kind of the why and the how, then this second pillar, the performance domains, is all about the what. These are the broad, critical areas you need to focus on to get to a successful outcome.
And there are 8 of these domains. Now, the key thing to get here is that you have to think of them as interconnected systems that all work together. They're not a checklist. A change in one domain, say planning, is absolutely going to have a ripple effect on another, like delivery.
So the first 4 domains are really your foundational building blocks. They focus on who you're working with, that's your stakeholders and your team, and then how you're going to approach the work through your chosen development approach and all your planning. If you can get these right, you've really set the stage for success.
And then these final 4 domains are where the rubber really meets the road. This is all about the actual project work itself, the delivery of value, how you measure your performance, and of course, how you navigate uncertainty. This is the action-packed heart of the entire framework.
So, we've got our principles and our domains. But I know what you're probably asking right now. Okay, this is great, but what does this actually mean for my next project? Well, the answer really comes down to 2 critical concepts that tie this whole philosophy together.
The first concept is tailoring.
And I'm telling you, the new guide is practically screaming this from the rooftops. One size does not fit all. You are now explicitly encouraged, in fact, you're expected, to deliberately adapt your approach for every single project. The goal is to use just enough process to get the job done right and no more.
And this isn't just some vague idea either. There's a clear process for it. First, you select an initial approach that seems right. Then, you tailor it to fit your organization's quirks. Then you tailor it again for the specifics of your project. And finally, you're always focused on continuous improvement. It's an active, living cycle.
The second concept, and honestly, maybe the most important of all, is value. This is the new North Star for everything we do. Every principle, every domain, every single tailoring decision you make should be guided by one simple question. Does this deliver value? It's now officially defined as the ultimate indicator of a project's success.
So here's the bottom line, the big takeaway. The finish line has moved. Success isn't just about checking a box and saying, yep, we delivered the thing on time and on budget. The real question, the one that truly matters now, is did our work actually create the outcome we wanted and deliver real, tangible value? So, I'll just leave you with this question to chew on. How can you use these principles, this focus on tailoring and on value, to make your very next project more adaptable, more resilient, and ultimately a whole lot more valuable? That's the real challenge and the huge opportunity of the PMBOK 7th edition.